because you are in the Hoodwood. I'm the Black Bandit, KJ Green, welcoming you to Sports from the Hoodwood for December 28th, 2018. Coming up in this festive year-end edition, for the title, the College Football National Semifinals are on tap. Who I think will win and why? Will LeBron's injury force the young Lake Show to grow up fast? Are we headed to an MLB labor stoppage? Picks and predictions for the NFL's regular season finale. All that straight ahead with Fat Dap and Head Slap and a multitude of opinions and info in this edition of Sports from the Hoodwood. Are you ready? Then let's go.
You're tuned in to Sports from the Hoodwood, the internet's foremost location for the most honest, unfiltered commentary and insight on the world of sports. Now, once again, here's Hoodwood's hometown hero, KJ Green.
Greetings from the Hoodwood, where the Christmas leftovers will make for tasty lunches for quite a while. I'm your man, KJ Green, welcoming you back to the Hoodwood. Now, let's be honest. The college football bowl games have been a real nice appetizer, but the real money games are coming up this Saturday. I'm talking about the college football national semifinals on tap. Saturday, 4 p.m., Notre Dame will face Clemson in the Cotton Bowl. And at 8 p.m., Alabama faces Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl. The winners advancing to the national championship game being played out in Santa Clara on January the 7th. I always look back for that date. I know it's on a Monday. It's the first Monday of the new year. And the betting lines are saying that both Alabama and Clemson are odds-on favorites to advance to the championship game. Both are double-digit favorites in the national semifinals. Now, in the opener, Clemson facing Notre Dame in the Cotton Bowl, the Irish have an offensive powerhouse, to be sure. But this is a Clemson defense that is fearsome. And I think very, very underrated offensively. Now, true freshman Trevor Lawrence has been nearly flawless after stepping in for the now departed Kelly Bryant, who has transferred. And he's been the driving force behind a Tiger offense that has scored 590 points this year, a school record. The Irish have benefited from a midseason quarterback change after so-so play against Ball State and Vandy. They beat Michigan in a grind-out game, but they weren't supposed to grind out against Ball State and Vandy. Ian Book was named the starter, and the offense of the Irish began to shine. They averaged 37.2 points in their final 9 games. But still, I think the Irish really haven't faced a high-speed, hit-you-in-the-mouth type defense that Clemson has. And while Trevor Lawrence is a true freshman, he's showing a maturity and a poise beyond his years. And I think while Notre Dame has been a media darling this season, as they have pretty much any season they're in contention, their offense will have serious trouble running on Clemson. Even with the loss of defensive lineman Dexter Lawrence, who was suspended after both of his samples came back positive for trace samples of an illegal substance, Notre Dame will still have trouble with Clemson's defense. And if Book and the Irish can take advantage of a suspect Tiger secondary, they will be able to hang tough. But I think the very underrated Clemson offense, even though they scored 590 points behind Trevor Lawrence, I think they'll wear the Irish defense down. And they've had trouble with teams who are not awed by the Notre Dame mystique. Clemson has been in the national semifinals before. They know what the hubbub is about. Recently, this is a team that's, oh wow, this is the big time. And I think Notre Dame will kind of be awed by the hubbub. I'm taking Clemson by a score of 38-24 in that first national semifinal. Now in the nightcap, defending champ Alabama faces Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl. Alabama is, well, Bama. Whether it's Jalen Hurts or Tua Tagovailoa, that's going to be the main question at quarterback. If Tagovailoa is unable to go, Jalen Hurts is a capable quarterback. Jalen Hurts is a quarterback who has won games for Nick Saban in Alabama and has done it multiple times. Now Saban, for his part, is doing the usual Belichick-like mumbling about who's going to start and how he respects Oklahoma. But let's be real. Bama will still have that kind of same slug you in the mouth, dare you to stop them swagger. That's the way Bama is. Oklahoma, for its part, has the dynamic Kyler Murray, the winner of the Heisman. He's the type of mobile quarterback that could give Bama's rugged defense a hard way to go. The only way the Sooners stay with the Tide is to make a Big 12 type of shootout. They want to go up and down the field trading scores. Alabama's defense is not built for a trading scores type of game. They want to stop you again, and wear you down, break your will. Oklahoma's defense bends a lot, gives up a lot of points, and is used to the 51-45, 48-47 type of shootouts that the Big 12 is famous for. But their defense can make a critical stop when needed. And that might be the key to stopping Alabama. Get them in a shootout and then stop them at a critical time. And while their defense is still spinning, trying to catch its breath, their offense runs you ragged. Now, if Oklahoma's offense bogs down and their defense is having to hold Bama to 20 points or fewer, they'll get beat. But this is what I think will happen. The rugged Tide defense slows Murray down enough, and Tagovailoa scores just enough on the tiring Sooner defense, who has had to hold and hold and hold and hope that the Sooner offense can bail them out. I think Bama wins this game 31-20, and we will have a Alabama-Clemson finale a week from Monday. Let's take a gander at the big story in the NBA. LeBron James. More specifically, LeBron James's groin injury. He suffered a minor groin injury on Christmas against the Warriors, left in the third quarter, and he missed the game against the Kings on Thursday, and is slated to miss a few games as Lakers are being extra cautious about his injury and not wanting to rush him back. LeBron will be 34 on Sunday. One has to wonder how the New Look Lake Show will fare in his absence. Rajon Rondo stepped up mightily, but he also has fallen to an injury, a busted finger. He will be out 4 to 5 weeks. Will players like Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, JaVale McGee, and the much maligned Lonzo Ball be ready to pick up the slack? I mean, Tyson Chandler has made this team better and tougher with his very presence. But he's not a real nightly scoring threat, not anymore. As much love as I have for former Bearcat Lance Stevenson, he's a role player. And he's not a consistent, dominant scorer. The Lakers show up Thursday that they may be in trouble without LeBron. This team blew a double-digit lead to the Kings in Sacramento and lost on a buzzer beater. This team has a pretty light schedule, though the Clippers are pretty solid and getting the So-So Kings again and the woeful Knicks sandwich around a tough home date with the Thunder in their next 5. The Lake Show can run on its own without LeBron, but they're not built to run without him for a long stretch. Not yet. Stay tuned. Let's shift gears one more time quickly to Major League Baseball. And could there be a Major League Baseball work stoppage on the horizon? Now, there hasn't been one in 23 years. But with the free agent market being very, very sluggish, one has to wonder if the MLB owners are up to some kind of chicanery. And this isn't something that I put past them. Average salaries went down for the first time in Major League Baseball in over 30 years last year. And owners are, per their usual mantra, cry poor, and that divide between the poor teams and the rich teams get wider. Never mind that the uber-rich Dodgers traded away 3 expensive players and release the player that they got, trying to, quote-unquote, clear salary space for Bryce Harper. And let's go to the Business Encyclopedia and find the word collusion. Not in the prominent, it's more prominent now given the political climate, but the term was more obscure back in the day. In the mid-'80s, then MLB commissioner and poobah, Peter Ueberroth, was all about hectoring MLB owners to, quote-unquote, stop being dumb and work together to hold down salaries, considering that the average Major League salary was in the neighborhood of about $700,000, where now it's in the average about $5 million. But that's neither here nor there. The MLB owners then put up an unofficial plan in place to not only keep players from moving from team to team in free agency, but hold down salaries in the process. A player would reach his free agency year and then suddenly find nobody wanted him. Nobody wanted his services, and if they did, they wanted them for very cheap. More often than not, the player would have to go back to the original team, tail between the legs, and take whatever offer the owner had for them. More often was either the same paycheck or a pay cut. Now, this was found to be very, very illegal and ironically against the very rules that the owners themselves insisted that be written in the first collective bargaining agreement in the mid-'60s. Players were initially forbidden, as they are now, to work in concert for better contracts. Don Drysdale and Sandy Koufax did just such this in the mid-'60s, holding out for a 3-year, $500,000 contract to be split down the middle. Well, in the collective bargaining agreement, when the union, then in its infancy in the 1960s, came about, the owners specifically said, we want language written in so that players can't work together. The union said fine, as long as the owners don't work together to hold down salaries. This is what this original collusion came about. The players filed agreements, and the owners got caught, found liable, and socked to the tune of $250 million. Now you say $280 million. That's not that much. Today it's not. But $280 million in today's money, from then to now, is close to $2.8 billion. It's a lot of money. They were socked with a lot of money in damages. And then the free agents that were, quote-unquote, new-look free agents and able to negotiate with whatever team they wanted. That was how Kirk Gibson got from the Tigers to the Dodgers and helped them win a World Series in 1988. But you had the MLB owners working in concert to hold down salaries. And it's not something beyond what they would do. Now, the market for the big name players like Bryce Harper or Manny Machado will be there, as always. Those players aren't going to walk and not get big money. It's for the lesser players that are lucky to now get 2-year deals. And 3 to 5 year deals for mid-range players are going the way of the dodo and the middle bats. Now, the latest CBA set a salary floor, but a quote-unquote so-called soft cap with a luxury tax is also in effect. Sooner or later, the Major League Baseball Players Association is going to notice that no one is getting long-term deals. This generation of players and fans don't even remember the rancorous climate of the 1994-95 strike. I remember it quite clearly. I was 22 years old. And the bitter feelings that hurt baseball was something that both the owners and the players have tried to avoid for the last quarter century to keep good feeling toward the sport of baseball, pro baseball. But most of the owners that were part of the 94-95 strike and the atmosphere that caused it are long gone. A labor dispute in Major League Baseball is coming. Bank on it. Maybe not in the 2019 season, but it's on the horizon. And you heard it here first that it will happen, and that right soon. We'll take our first time out, come back with NFL Week 17 picks. The final week of the NFL season is upon us, and we'll take a look at the all 16 games on the docket as Sports from the Hoodwood rolls on after this.
You're tuned into Sports from the Hoodwood, the internet's foremost location for no-nonsense commentary, insight, and opinions on the world of sports. Here now live in living color, black by popular demand, your host, KJ Green.
You're back in the Hoodwood, and let's take a look at the NFL Week 17 picks. And here's where the story ends for 20 of the 32 NFL teams. 8 of the 12 playoff spots have been claimed, but 7 teams are still in the running for 4 spots. Now here's what we know going into the NFL's final week. 5 of the 6 spots in the NFC have been claimed. The Saints have the number 1 seed. The Rams and Bears are still in play for the number 2 seed. The Cowboys are locked in as the number 4 seed. Those 4 teams will be hosting playoff games first weekend of January or that second weekend in the divisional round. Now the Seahawks are in, but if they lose to the Cardinals and the Vikings win, they will be the number 6 seed. The Vikings have to win or the Eagles have to lose for them to claim a playoff spot. And if they win and the Seahawks lose, the Vikings will be the number 5 seed. 4 of the 6 spots in the AFC have been claimed, but only the Patriots have clinched their division. No teams have clinched a bye yet, and one of the AFC West teams will be the wild card with at least 11 wins, and more than likely head somewhere like Baltimore, Pittsburgh to face a team that has a worse winning percentage than them. Go figure. Now either Ravens or the Steelers will get in from the Either the Ravens or the Steelers will get in from the AFC North, one or the other, not both. The Texans have clinched a playoff berth, but not the AFC South. If they beat the Jaguars, they win the division. The winner of the Colts-Titans game is a winner-take-all. If the Texans lose, the winner of that game will be the division champ. Got all that? No? Okay. I'm outlining all playoff scenarios in the games that have playoff seeding ramifications. The NFL shuffled its lineup so that in an ironic twist, all the games that have playoff implications are being played at 4:25 Eastern so that no team will have its playoff fate decided before they take the field. It leaves 5 of the 7 games that have no playoff bearing on the docket. Only the Patriots and Texans are playing early, but both are in and only need to win to better their playoff seeding. And in the Texans' case, win the AFC South. Those are the warm-up games with the late afternoon games and the Sunday night game being deciding playoff season, in some cases, if a team makes the playoffs at all. Now, this makes for an exciting conclusion to the NFL season, and all odds are heretofore provided by ESPN and are for comparison, informational, and entertainment purposes only. If you bet the New Year's champagne money on the lines get took, it's your fault. That you'll toast the new year with Ripple or sparkling apple juice, and your bookie will be drinking the good stuff to your bad luck. Let's get started with the games. All the games are on Sunday. No Thursday night games, no Saturday night games, no Monday night games. All the games are on Sunday, December 30th. And it's a Fox and CBS doubleheader weekend. Both networks have doubleheaders this weekend. Check your local listings for the games that are being shown in your area. As always, I highly recommend 506sports.com. They have a great comprehensive map of the games that are being played across the nation and which games are being shown where. We'll start off with the 7-8 Dolphins at the 5-10 Bills at New Era Field in Orchard Park, New York. 1 o'clock kickoff on CBS. The Bills are 4.5-point favorites. Last week, the Dolphins lost to the Jaguars 17-7. The Bills lost to the Patriots 24-12. Fast fact, the Bills outgamed the Dolphins 415 to 173 in their last meeting, but still lost. The Dolphins' listless play in their home finale destroyed their feeble playoff hopes for good, and now they head to the frozen turf of Buffalo to face a Bills team that has already packed it in. I once saw these very same teams play for a lot higher stakes, but that was something better than 20 years ago. These teams resemble nothing of those rugged squads that I saw and are just playing out the stream. The Dolphins don't play well in the cold, and the Bills will give the few fans that come out something to be happy about in the season's conclusion. The pick is Buffalo. Next up, we have the 5-10 Lions taking on the 6-8-1 Packers at Lambeau Field in Green Bay. 1 o'clock kickoff on Fox. The Packers are 8-point favorites. Last week, the Packers defeated the Jets 44-38 in overtime. The Lions lost to the Vikings 27-9. Fast fact is the Packers will have their first back-to-back losing seasons since 1990-91. Now, the Lions sleptwalk through their home finale and head to the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field to face a Packers team that is in the curious position of not having anything to play for in its second straight season. Aaron Rodgers is campaigning hard for the Pack to retain Joe Philbin as head coach, and if he plays lights out as he did in Gotham last week, he'll strengthen his case. Though the Lions have won the last 3 meetings, them winning in Lambeau is extremely rare. 2 wins in the last 27 seasons. I can't see it happening this year. The pick is Green Bay. Next up, we have the 6-9 Carolina Panthers against the 13-2 Saints. Games being played at Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans. 1 o'clock kickoff on Fox. The Saints are 7.5-point favorites. Last week, the Panthers lost to the Falcons 24-10. The Saints defeated the Steelers 31-28. Fast fact is the Panthers' 7-game losing streak is its longest under head coach Ron Rivera. Now, the Panthers went from fringe Super Bowl contender to also ran with a frightening 7-game slide, and it may have cost Ron Rivera his job. Though a win here might just save it. Now, the question here is how many Saints stars will be resting. Teddy Bridgewater will get the start instead of Drew Brees. Now, with the Saints having nothing to play for with the division bye and number 1 seed already locked up, it's anyone's guess how many Saints starters will play and for how long. The Saints could be in the middle of a 4 home games in 5 weeks stretch, only leaving the cozy confines of the Superdome for either getting beat or heading to Atlanta for a February Super Bowl date. I think the Saints coast and the Panthers spring the quote-unquote upset to save Rivera from getting the gate. I have Carolina as my upset of the week. Next up, we have the 9-6 Cowboys against the 5-10 Giants at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. 1 o'clock kickoff on Fox. The Giants are 6-point favorites. Last week, the Cowboys defeated the Buccaneers 27-20. The Giants lost to the Colts 28-27. Fast fact, this is the 5th straight year that the Pokes have a meaningless Week 17 game. Now, the Pokes won a thrilling home finale and locked in with that the number 4 slot in the playoffs. And they're highly likely to rest as many as they can in this now meaningless matchup in Gotham. The G-Men, for their part, are still playing hard, but lack many components to finish games. That being said, the Pokes are resting. Even though the Pokes are resting players, they should have still enough to hold off the Giants and finish with 10 wins. The pick here is Dallas. Next up, we have the 6-9 Falcons at the 5-10 Buccaneers. Game being played at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. 1 o'clock kickoff on Fox. The Falcons are 1.5-point favorites. Last week, the Falcons defeated the Panthers 24-10. Buccaneers lost to the Cowboys 27-20. Fast fact will be win or lose. This will be the first losing season of Falcons coach Dan Quinn's tenure. Now, the Falcons look to finish on an upswing on an otherwise disappointing 2018. The Bucs have more question than prospective Jeopardy contestants going forward. While I think that Dan Quinn's job is safe for the moment, Dirk Cutter's is certainly not. I think that Matty Ice will do just enough to get the Falcons a win and a decent finish to the year. The pick here is Atlanta. Next up, we have the 4-11 Jets at the 10-5 Patriots. Game being played at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Mass. 1 o'clock kickoff on CBS. The Patriots are 13.5-point favorites. Last week, the Jets lost to the Packers 44-38 in overtime. The Patriots defeated the Bills 24-12. Fast fact is the Patriots clinched their NFL record 10th consecutive division title last week. And with a win, they will earn a first-round bye for the 9th straight year. Playoff implications here is the Patriots clinch a bye with a win. The Jets gave it a go, but blew a late lead and took a dispiriting loss to the Pack in overtime, and head like a doomed man to the gallows to face a resolute Pat squad looking to maintain their pecking order in the AFC hierarchy. Sam Darnold is the Jets' future to be sure, and will be a test for defenses in years to come. But Tom Brady is still the man, at least in this division, and while the Pats may be dead man walking in the playoffs, they're still going, and they'll use this game to give as many key players more rest. The Pats should win, but it won't be a cakewalk. The pick here is New England. Next up, we have the 5-10 Jaguars at the 10-5 Texans. Game being played at NRG Stadium in Houston. 1 o'clock kickoff on CBS. The Texans are 6.5-point favorites. Last week, the Jaguars defeated the Dolphins 17-7, while the Texans lost to the Eagles 32-30. Fast fact is how quick a reversal. The Texans went 10-2 after an 0-3 start, while the Jags started 3-1 and finished 2-9. Playoff implications: the Texans win the AFC South with a win, clinch a bye with the losses by either the Patriots or the Chiefs. The Jags ruined the Dolphins' Christmas by dousing their slim playoff hopes and hope to play the New Year's party poopers in Houston to keep them from winning the AFC South. Now, the Texans blew a late lead in Philly and let their chance for wrapping up the division and a bye slip away. The Texans still control their own fate to win the AFC South, but a loss this week puts them on the road in the playoffs. While I think the Jags will hang tough in their role of spoiler, I think that being at home helps the Texans, and they should have enough to pull out a win and the division as well. The pick here is Houston. We will take a timeout, come back with the late games as well as the Sunday night game as Sports from the Hoodwood rolls on after this.
You're tuned in to Sports from the Hoodwood, the internet's premier location for no-nonsense commentary, insight, and opinion on the world of sports. Here now, the man with 100% certified fresh taste, your host, KJ Green.
You are back in the Hoodwood, and NFL Week 17 picks continue with the late games. We'll start with the 11-4 Chargers at the 6-9 Broncos. Game being played at Broncos Stadium at Mile High in Denver. 4:25 kickoff on CBS. The Chargers are 6.5-point favorites. Last week, the Broncos lost to the Raiders 27-14, while the Chargers lost to the Ravens 22-10. Fast fact: Broncos linemen Von Miller and Bradley Chubb have combined for 26.5 sacks this season. Playoff implications: the Chargers win the AFC West and gain a bye with a win and a Chiefs loss. Now, the Chargers missed out on a huge opportunity to push past these Chiefs in the AFC West race and now need help to win the division. Winning in Denver is no easy task, though the Broncos look like they have packed it in, especially after a listless loss in Oakland that might have put Vance Joseph's job in dire straits. The Chargers will get their 12th win, but likely will be headed to Baltimore for a rematch of last week's game. The pick here is the Los Angeles Chargers. Next up, we have the 4-11 Raiders taking on the 11-4 Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. 4:25 kickoff on CBS. The Chiefs are 13.5-point favorites. Last week, the Raiders defeated the Broncos 27-14. The Chiefs lost to the Seahawks 38-31. Fast fact is Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes leads the NFL with 48 touchdown passes, fourth most in NFL history. Playoff implications: Chiefs win AFC West and get number 1 seed and bye with a win. They win the AFC West with a Chargers loss. The Raiders sent their Oakland fan base off on a happy note with a rugged win over the Broncos, while the Chiefs continue their stretch stumble that has their fans legitimately worried. The scenario is simple: win at home, and the Chiefs get at least a home game in 2 weeks, as they will win the AFC West and get one of the coveted byes. They also lock up the AFC number 1 seed and won't have the possibility of having to go to Foxborough in the playoffs. Now, the Raiders had their big game last week and won't likely give the Chiefs any more than cursory resistance. The pick here is Kansas City. Next up, we have the 4-11 49ers against the 12-3 Rams at Memorial Coliseum in Los Angeles. 4:25 kickoff on Fox. The Rams are 10-point favorites. Last week, the 49ers lost to the Bears 14-9. The Rams defeated the Cardinals 31-9. Fast fact, Rams running back Todd Gurley needs 55 yards to better his career rushing high, one rushing touchdown to equal Eric Dickerson's franchise scoring record. Playoff implications, the Rams clinch a bye with a win or a Bears loss. Now, the Niners gave the Bears a tough fight last week, but went down and are wrapping up their season with a quiet fade to black. The Rams are trying to work the kinks out before the playoffs, and they'll take delight in kicking around their upstate rivals. The Rams don't want to have to go on the road any earlier than the conference title game, if at all. Snagging a bye would further that aim, and the Niners should be no real worry here. The pick here is the Los Angeles Rams. Next up, we have the 11-4 Bears taking on the 8-6-1 Vikings at US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. 4:25 kickoff on Fox. The Vikings are 4.5-point favorites. Last week, the Bears defeated the 49ers 14-9, and the Vikings defeated the Lions 27-9. Fast fact, the Vikings scored 41 points and rushed for 220 yards against the Dolphins, both of which are season highs. Playoff implications, the Bears get a bye and number 2 seed with a win and a Rams loss. The Vikings clinch playoff berth with a win or Eagles loss. They will clinch the number 5 playoff seed with a win and a Seahawks loss. Now, the Bears had a harder time with the Niners than was expected, and they still have a bit to play for, being able to snag a bye, but the chances of this are a bit slim, given the Rams needed only to win to stay ahead of them in the number 2 slot. They would like to keep their divisional nemesis out, as they would likely have to face them in Chicago next week as a 3-6 wildcard round game. The Vikings, for their part, throttled the Lions last week and will have a rowdy home crowd to boost their often fragile psyche. Knowing that this is their last home game, win or lose, they'll treat it like a playoff game and play over their heads on this tough Bears defense and squeak out a win and hope against hope that it gets them a trip to Dallas and not Chicago next weekend. The pick here is Minnesota. Next up, we have the 3-12 Cardinals taking on the 9-6 Seahawks at CenturyLink Field at Seattle. 4:25 kickoff on Fox. The Seahawks are 13.5-point favorites. Last week, the Cardinals lost to the Rams 31-9. The Seahawks defeated the Chiefs 38-31. Fast fact, the Cardinals have won 4 of the 5. Fast fact, the Cardinals have won 4 of the 5. Try it again. Fast fact, the Cardinals have won 4 of the past 5 meetings in Seattle. Playoff implications, Seahawks clinch number 5 playoff seed with a win or a Vikings loss. Now, the Cards just want it to be all over and don't look like they will give the Seahawks any trouble here. The Seahawks, for their part, want to ensure that they will be the ones heading to Dallas, where a winnable playoff game awaits, and not Chicago, where they lost in September and will be facing a bone-chilling playoff matchup. The Seahawks should rouse the Cardinals in a festive home atmosphere and get set for the playoffs. The pick here is Seattle. Next up, we have 8-7 Philadelphia taking on 7-8 Washington at FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. 4:25 kickoff on Fox. Philadelphia 7-point favorites. Last week, Philadelphia defeated Houston 32-30. Washington lost to Tennessee 25-16. Fast fact, Eagles quarterback Nick Foles threw for a franchise record 471 yards against Houston last week. Playoff implications, Eagles clinch playoff spot with win and a Vikings loss. Now, Philly rallied smartly to beat Houston last week and hang on to playoff hope. They head to the nation's capital, where Washington saw their fleeting playoff dream finally evaporate. Who will be the signal caller for Washington? It's anyone's guess, though Josh Johnson may get another go. Nick Foles isn't making things easy for Philly fan with his stellar play, but this might be the last time you see him in Philly gang green. For what it's worth, the Eagles will keep the pressure on Minnesota by handling Washington, but it will all go for naught, as they will still be watching the team that they eliminated last year stay ahead of them in the playoff hunt and officially end the Eagles' title defense. The pick here is Philadelphia. Next up, we have the 7-7-1 Browns taking on the 9-6 Ravens at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. 4:25 kickoff on CBS. The Ravens are 5.5-point favorites. Last week, the Browns defeated the Bengals 28-16, while the Ravens defeated the Chargers 22-10. Fast fact is one of the reasons the Ravens control their own playoff destiny, despite a poor divisional record, is that they went 4-0 against the AFC West, while the Steelers were winless against the same four teams. Playoff implications are simple. The Ravens win the AFC North with a win or a Steelers loss. About 33 miles to the northeast of the aforementioned Philly-Washington tangle, another playoff-heavy game will be transpiring. Unlike the Eagles, the Ravens need no help to get to the playoffs other than winning. They beat the Browns, and they will wrest the AFC North title from the Steelers. Now, the Ravens can back in with a loss in the unlikely scenario of the Steelers losing to the Bengals, but the issue is the Browns aren't the pushover, stomp your feet, and they collapse Browns of yesteryear. And don't you think that these Browns would love to put a serious crimp in the Ravens, old Browns, playoff plans? For what it's worth, Baker Mayfield has been very impressive, and facing fellow Heisman winner Lamar Jackson should be a preview of high-stakes divisional duels for years to come. But while the Browns are growing fast, they are a little too short in stature to win a game like this. Don't think that they won't give the Ravens a hard way to go, but with too much on the line to trifle, the Ravens will gut out a hard-fought win and delight in sending their hated divisional nemesis Steelers into playoff oblivion. The pick here is Baltimore. Next up, we have the 6-9 Bengals taking on the 8-6-1 Steelers at Heinz Field. 4:25 kickoff on CBS. The Steelers are 14.5-point favorites. Last week, the Bengals lost to the Browns 28-16. The Steelers lost to the Saints 31-28. Fast fact, the Bengals' 439 points allowed is the worst in the NFL this season and is 21 points shy of the most allowed in team history set back in 1999. Playoff implications, Steelers must win and have the Ravens lose to win the AFC North. The Steelers fell apart late against the Saints and now need help to win the AFC North. For their part, they get an eminently beatable opponent in the Bengals, but they suddenly have become Browns fans as they need the other Ohio-based team to spring a road upset just to open the door for them. Beating the Bengals, who have more or less quit weeks ago, won't be the problem, but they will likely get left at the station waiting for a playoff train that ain't coming. Nevertheless, I'm still picking Pittsburgh as my lock of the week. Finally, the Sunday night game on tap is the 9-6 Colts taking on the 9-6 Titans at Nissan Stadium in Nashville. 8:20 kickoff on NBC. This game was the final Sunday night flex. The Colts are 3.5-point favorites. Last week, the Colts defeated the New York Football Giants 28-27, while Tennessee defeated Washington 25-16. Fast fact is Colts quarterback Andrew Luck is 10-0 against the Titans' lifetime. Playoff implication, winner of the game clinches a playoff berth. If Houston has lost earlier in the day, the winner wins the AFC South. This matchup has what the NFL and NBC wants for its regular season finale: high stakes and a win-or-go-home atmosphere. Both teams are finishing out respectable campaigns, and a win will get them in the playoffs, and a loss eliminates them altogether, as Houston and Los Angeles have already snagged the safety nets. Andrew Luck continues to be the unquestioned choice for comeback player of the year. Derrick Henry has become the Titans' go-to runner and has helped them fight their way into contention. This is an extremely tough call for the finale. But even though they're the road team, I think the Colts are playing just slightly better, and with Marcus Mariota being a heavy question, should be able to put enough points up to grind out a win. Their ability to keep Luck on his feet will be the difference in a tight game. The pick here is Indianapolis. Last week it was 12-4 with the lock and upset correct. Thank you very much. Overall, 157, 85-2, 12-4 on the locks, 8-8 on the upsets. There you have it, Week 17 of the NFL picks. We will take a final timeout, come back with the Fat Dap and Head Slap and the final word from the Wood as Sports from the Hoodwood heads down the home stretch after this timeout.
You're tuned into Sports from the Hoodwood the internet's foremost location for the most honest insight and opinion on the world of sports. Now, once again, here's the man of the hour, After Hours. Your host, KJ Green.
Running third and heading for home in the Hoodwood, I'm KJ Green. And now let's look at the Fat Dap and Head Slap of the Week. Fat Dap of the Week goes to Jim Irsay and the Indianapolis Colts, who lent their team plane to ferry Purdue superfan Tyler Trent to Nashville, where he will serve as the Boilermakers honorary bowl captain in their Music City Bowl matchup against Auburn. The Colts have been especially close to the cancer-stricken Trent, who has been a source of inspiration to the Boilers, as well as many other people, Hoodwood included. Irsay flew Trent and his entire family to Nashville, a classy gesture from the Colts owner for the relentlessly positive Trent, who's been a source of inspiration for many, including everyone here in the Hoodwood. Now, the head slap of the week goes to the First Responder Bowl between Boston College and Boise State on Wednesday. Not because they delayed the game because of lightning in the area. They get the head slap because they canceled the game. Who cancels a football game? Especially a bowl game. Those kids don't get another shot to play. And the seniors on both squads get a shrug and a well, cuz. I mean, I can understand safety, delaying the game, postponing the game. But they could have rescheduled that game and played it. You'll be damn sure that there's lightning in Miami or Santa Clara for the CFP games. They'll delay them and play them later. Head slap to whoever organized the First Responder Bowl and didn't plan properly for a contingency. Now, a follow-up on the head slap from last week, I gave one to Alan Maloney, the referee that told a dreadlock wrestler that he had to cut his hair on the spot or forfeit his match. Maloney was placed on indefinite suspension by the Buena, New Jersey Regional School District. Now, I've talked to various wrestling coaches and referees who are divided on the subject, but I still think that there was blame to go around on all sides. The coaching staff should have provided the wrestler with a better fitting cap to cover his dreads, and the ref should have been more tolerant to the situation and not give a cut your hair or forfeit ultimatum and give him 90 seconds to decide. That was uncalled for. And Maloney is no longer refereeing, which I think, given his previous racial animosity, is a good thing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a final word from the wood. 2018 is just about in the history books, and we're looking at 2019. What does that mean? It means we're looking at the 50th anniversary of the famous Joe Namath guarantee. We're looking at the 50th season, or 50th anniversary, I should say, of divisional play in Major League Baseball. It means that we are just about done with the tumultuous year that started with Bam beating Georgia in a heart-stopping CFP finale. Minnesota pulling out a miracle one week and then laying an egg the next to a Destiny's darling in Philly. 2018 saw Austin Dillon wake up echoes of legends past by winning the Daytona 500 20 years after Dale Sr. claimed his only Daytona title in that same number 3 car. 2018 saw a Winter Korean Olympiad go out with an area hitch. It also saw my Bearcats win a conference crown, then give away a 22-point lead in a painful second-round loss. 2018 saw the Never Say Never game, where UMBC finally beat the odds as the first ever 16 seed to win an NCAA tourney game. It saw Loyola Chicago ramble to their first Final Four in 55 years, with their inspirational octogenarian fan, Sister Jean, cheering them on and getting a Final Four ring of her own. 2018 saw Dante DiVincenzo write an epic finale of his own in the NCAA tourney game and lead Law and unheralded Patrick Reed outduel Ricky Fowler and Jordan Spieth to win the coveted Masters green jacket. It saw Will Power win at Indy for the first time. 2018 saw Toronto win 59 games but still get swept by the Cavs, but then turn around and fire their coach. It saw Houston come close to knocking off the Warriors, but brick their way through a rough Game 7 loss. It saw LeBron carry Cleveland as far as he could, almost by himself, then see J.R. Smith dribble out an upset bid in Game 1 of the finals. Or I should say, carry as far as he could, and then almost by himself, and see J.R. Smith screw up an upset bid in Game 1 of the finals and by dribbling out a tie game clock and douse any prayer of competitiveness as the Warriors swept to their third title in 4 years. 2018 saw the improbable run of the Vegas Golden Knights, who became the first ever first-year expansion team in 50 years to make the Stanley Cup Finals. And 2018 will always be a magical year for Washington Capitals fans, and my broadcast homie John Walton, who was behind the mic for the Caps' dream run to their first Stanley Cup title. 2018 saw 2018 saw a thrilling World Cup, even with the U.S. sitting glumly on the sideline, and saw MLS accept a FC Cincinnati team into its fold. 2018 saw the rise of Patrick Mahomes, the dominance of the Rams, Saints, and Chiefs, and saw the resurgence of the Bears. It saw Chucky go back to Oakland, and the Raiders possibly saying goodbye to the East Bay. 2018 saw the Red Sox dominate the MLB postseason and roll to a World Series title. 2018 saw Alabama dominate start to finish of another season and take their accustomed position in the CFP playoff picture. It saw the accustomed OSU route of Michigan, and my Bearcats win more in a season than they had in the past two. 2018 saw a lot of things. It saw us notably lose Stretch McCovey, Tex Winter, Stan Mikita, Red Shandas, C.M. Newton, Sir Roger Bannister, Stan Lee, and the voice of a great many soul singers in Aretha Franklin, and the voice of many of a great sporting event in Keith Jackson. Last but not least, 2018 saw something that was a dream on paper for a long time, but is now becoming a reality. This show. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. And that is the final word from the Wood. With the music coming up in the background, you know that means your time in the Hoodwood is just about done, and I thank you for your visit. If you want to send me an email, you can by all means do so. You can send correspondence to kjgreen@blackbanditproductions.com for show thoughts, ideas on topics, praise, and criticism. I welcome your correspondence, and I try to reply to every email that is sent, sometimes in a timely manner, but I will get back to you as quickly as I can. You can catch the podcast weekly on a number of outlets. Links to the show site and previous episodes are available at hoodwoodsports.podbean.com, and you will find cool links, funny videos, and other bonus content there. I'm just trying to find stuff as we speak. The show can be accessed on your phone. You can download it at the App Store for iTunes or on Google Play. I'm also on Facebook at Black Bandit Productions and Enterprises, Twitter at KJGreen20, and KJGreenBB, as well as YouTube. So, that's that for the 2018 volume of the Hoodwood, fellow sports fans. Until we meet again on the other side of the calendar turn, I'm KJ Green, 30.
Sports from the Hoodwood
Is a Black Bandit Productions and Enterprises presentation
of a 551 Audio and Films production.